Hey there, YouTube fans. How you going again, man? Look, I got a little bit more energy, so I'm going to use it wisely right now. Now, this information is hard to find, and if I get a chance, and I don't promise it, I will try and link where I found this information from. But just let me tell you that I did do research, and I did find this in one of those PubMeds or whatever, like a reputable source, and it's treat manage symptoms of ME CFS, so myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome. And there is a number of pharmacological and non-pharmacological treatments that can help reduce the severity of symptoms. Some examples of commonly used medications include low-dose naltrexone, LDN. Now, from memory, it's from like 0.5 milligrams, and then they titrate it up to 4.5 milligrams. And that's helped people mainly with the pain and the sore joints and muscles and things like that. Apparently, the reports are that it's not so much useful for the fatigue side of things, which is where I struggle the most. I can kind of handle a bit of the pain in the joints and the shoulders and all over my body, but the fatigue for me and the brain fog stuff is an issue for me. Duloxetine, I don't know much about that one. Gabapentin or pregabalin for pain. Okay. Fludrocortisone, midodrine, pyridostimine. I never heard of these before, sorry. Low-dose beta blockers and or intravenous hydration for orthostatic intolerance. So like POTS syndrome, POTS, it's basically characterized by when you stand up, you feel faint or your heart races and your blood pressure goes through the roof. And I think I do have that, to be honest, because I seem to have those symptoms. Now, this is where I, like, it's more interesting for me at this point when they say occasional use of modafinil, which is a smart drug. It's a cognition-enhancing drug. And methylphenidate, which is actually Ritalin. So it's the stuff they give those kids for ADHD. That can help with cognition and fatigue. Or dexedrine for cognitive or fatigue issues. So dexedrine is, again, for ADHD, and it's basically speed. I think it's dexamethasone. Don't quote me on that, but it's basically speed. Okay, it's like an amphetamine. It's like related to dexamphetamine. That's it. I have tried that for weight loss, and it just made my heart race, and I was really hungry, and I don't remember it affecting my fatigue personally. And there is trazodone, clonazepam, tricyclic antidepressants, or suvorexant for sleep. Okay. Drugs should be started at low doses and increased slowly to avoid triggering drug sensitivities common in ME CFS. So we have drug sensitivities. I've got countless videos on this channel, like I couldn't take this drug, I've had a paradoxical reaction to this drug. I didn't know that before, but it is here mentioned. Non-pharmacological approaches, so without tablets or whatever, include salt and fluid loading. Now that's something that I just realized, just learned lately, and it was kind of anecdotally. I noticed that if I had a pizza or very salty chips or something, salty foods for like a day or two, all of a sudden the next day I felt great. I had my energy come back and it felt really good. And it says here salt and fluid loading. So there is some kind of reaction with people with ME if you have more salt. That's right, it increases the volume of your blood. So apparently we can be hypovolemic in the blood, like we don't have enough blood, not enough liquids in our body. And this is quite like, I can see this quite clearly. If I end up in hospital, they say to me all the time, "Oh, your blood pressure's through the roof," or "Your blood pressure's through the roof," and I've said to them, "Give me a whole bunch of fluids, and you watch that my blood pressure will come down." So if I get dehydrated, right, my blood pressure goes through the roof, and they're really worried, and they start giving me all these kind of drugs. The other thing is they don't use the right cuff size on my arm. I've got a really big arm, or they try and take it on the forearm, which is never accurate. So with this salt and fluid loading, and you can use compression stockings for those with orthostatic problems. So you've seen older people use the compression stockings on their legs to basically get that fluid back from, because of gravity, it goes in your feet, but you get it back into the rest of your body, which maybe I should try that one day. I'll try to remember to do that. Cognitive aids. Oh yeah, okay. So this is non-pharmacological, so you can write notes to assist your memory. You can keep a calendar. You can keep a notebook or a calculator at hand, and always put items in the same place. So I always put my keys in the same place. I always put my wallet in the same place. I put my phone in the same place. People who are sensitive to sound and light use earplugs and glasses, etc., etc. Note, in addition to these basic treatments, some disease experts are evaluating the selective use of antivirals and immune modulators. So rituximab, I think. Some of those immunosuppressive drugs, some people have reacted positive to those. Some people have reacted positively to the antivirals. My theory on that is some people have a different reason for having ME CFS, right? I don't think that every person who's got ME CFS has got the same root cause of the problem, if you know what I mean. I reckon that there are things that present as ME/CFS, and this is from my research as well, but there are different causes from that. There might not be only an immunological response or whatever have you, a lot of people who've had glandular fever end up with, not a lot of people, but a percentage of people end up with chronic fatigue syndrome. So they use these antivirals and immune modulators. They're testing these theories, and they're doing, clinical trials, and have seen evidence of the efficacy in some patients. Some of the Norwegians were using the immune modulators, the pharmacological stuff, the tablets, or the oil, or the IV infusions. It says here, this is not an exhaustive list of treatments. For further information on these and other treatments, see the references for the adult and pediatric primers below. So I hope that helps. So I just summarize for me specifically. I could try the smart drug modafinil, which I think that another option would be methylphenidate, which is basically Ritalin, although I'm concerned that I can have headaches, I can have heart palpitations, I can have a racing heart. So I'm a little concerned to even try that. I was thinking of trying the low-dose naltrexone because I thought it would help with fatigue, which is my main problem my main concern. And I'm not sure about that one. They're apparently very, very low side effects if you go low, start slow, like what they've said here. Now, as I said, I don't guarantee it. If I get time, if I try and, maybe if I if I write some of these, like if I do a search with the text in this, maybe I can find where I found this from. I basically did email myself this stuff. So I will try, my point is I will try and put a link in the description if I find where I got this from, okay? But for me, I don't really care. The information is more important. I know that I got it from a good source. I didn't just make it up. So, and this is the stuff that you check with your doctor and you do your own research. If something like this was interesting to you. But what I definitely found interesting is that it wasn't in my head. Yes, having a lot of salt for me actually does seem to help, and they are saying here salt works. The other weird thing, I put 3% hydrogen peroxide in my wine to neutralize the sulfites. I'm allergic to sulfites, which is chemical sensitivities are definitely related to ME CFS, and I've thought, what did I do differently the last few days? Why do I feel better? And I don't know if it's just a coincidence or what, but a couple of drops, and I'm talking a couple of drops of the food grade hydrogen peroxide, not the stuff you put in your hair, but food grade stuff, did seem to help me. And the theory is, because you look at the title, hydrogen peroxide, it may do something with oxygen in my body. It's just a theory I have, and apparently some of the issues with CFS is especially when you have pains in your muscles and that, there's some issue about the oxygen not being taken up properly. You're getting a bit hypoxic, especially with this orthostatic intolerance, or POTS. It's just a theory. I can't prove it, but yeah, it was just strange that I'm like, what did I do? How can I feel a bit better? And the other weird thing is, I have seen on a forum that other people experience this too. That around 7 p.m., a lot of people said for them 8 p.m. And well, we're in different time zones, right? They started to feel better. Like they started to plan all of their important activities for that time of the night. And that seems to be the case for me. At around 7 p.m., it's like a switch turns on and I feel a bit better. I can do a few more things, do the housework or whatever. And some people have said, well, maybe that's something to do with the cortisol levels. I think that's entirely possible, or your circadian rhythm. But I think perhaps the cortisol levels, which we know that prednisone is basically it's a mimic of cortisol, if I remember correctly. And if you put me on prednisone, which is a steroid, I seem to be cured. I seem to feel fantastic on it, but it's dangerous for long term, and basically it is dangerous. It's got all sorts of issues like diabetes and all sorts of stuff. So that's that's one to be careful of, I suppose. Look, I hope that helps, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great Easter, guys. Teach us out. Support Ukraine. Save the children. Save the children. Australia. Donate to the Ukrainian children. And God bless, guys. Teach us out. Ciao.